Today is the day finally. It's good, YouTube. It's your boy Mark coming back to you today with another video with a perspective. And for me, that perspective is the journey of me and kind of like my music career over the years. So music started for me back in high school. I got introduced to rap where at Miami Northern Senior High School, we had ciphers, and the ciphers was like a circle. You will point to a person, and that person will rap. That person then points to somebody else in a random circle. That person starts to rap, and it was all off the top of the head. And yeah, man, that's how I first I stepped in one of those circles for the first time, and I freestyled. And ever since then, I've been addicted to the art of rap. You know, prior to that, in 8th grade, I started writing poetry, and I was introduced to me through one of my classmates, Dwayne Grant, and seeing how what I perceived to be very much of a hard, tough dude during that time to also be writing poetry actually inspired me. And then that transition from middle school to high school, where I had a homeboy, Plutarch Stellis, who would go around during lunchtime having freestyle battles, rap battles. And he kind of helped me build up the confidence to actually want to rap. And then I moved from Miami to Columbia, South Carolina. I was introduced to a bunch of guys, Horace, Benny, Kwame, Zoe, Billy Farmer, man, so many guys, man, Freddie, just a lot of the homies, man. And we had this competitive nature where we would take like Leander, we would have like track meets, and on the back of the bus, like we would just freestyle all day. During lunchtime, we had freestyle battles. Me and Benny, we worked at the parties. We would have freestyle battles by the Friars, and just crack TV and smack early on, and just the love for the culture of hip hop. You know what I mean? Has been embedded in me for a very, very long time. And to finally get to a place to start making music, we transitioned from college, not from high school to college. And in college, my kind of like my freshman year, we just started like, I was introduced to my line brother, Chris, and also Trell and Emil, so my Prophyte. So again, these guys were the lovers of the culture just as much as I was. Got introduced to Joe Button my freshman year. And so yeah, it's always been this constant progression of being around other guys that push me to want to sharpen my pen, that's pushed me to want to tell better stories. And even being fans of other artists, Fabulous, Ludacris, Andre 3000s, the Joe Buttons, the Kendrick Lamars, the Big Crits, the Nipsey Hussles, the Isaiah Rashads, the Mick Jenkins, the Collaborates, the list goes on, Tyler the Creators, the Earl Sweatshirts, the Mike, the Mavis, the ones that really, Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac, like legends, LL Cool J. Back in 5th grade, I used to roll my sleeve up like LL Cool J and lick my lips a lot. You know what I'm saying? And so, I've been in the culture for a very long time. And, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mark Clark. I've amassed close to 2 million streams since my inceptions of actually releasing music back in 2016. And Next year will make 10 years in terms of me officially releasing music, but I've been making music since 2007, 2008. And so, man, the getting to a place in your own life of now being a father, of just being a man and in your 30s and feeling like this thing that you wanted more than anything, just to be recognized. The need of seeking to be validated in terms of your art, your craft. I think as any artist, the goal shouldn't be the validation, but I think it feels good to be validated that, hey, what you're doing and what you're putting out is of quality. Hey, what you're doing, what you're putting out is making an impact. Hey, what you're doing is, changing lives in an impactful and positive way. And I think early on in my career, my journey of being an artist and making music, it was solely just about, oh, I want to be the illest nigga out. I want to be the coldest nigga out. It would go rap, 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 rap. And then for me, I got to a place was like, I ain't really killing niggas like that. I ain't really clapping the guns. You know what I mean? Just from that battle rap culture and just being from the hood, this what we talked about, killing niggas. You know what I mean? Because as a competitor, you want to kill your opponent. Not physically, not literally, but you want to kill them in terms of lyrical ability, in terms of style, in terms of delivery, in terms of the whole shebang. And so, but also understanding that what the culture means, where back in high school, my uncle used to have these thick books of just CDs, and I would just go through for hours, where I got introduced to the Rough Riders, and where I really got to sit down and listen to full bodies of work. And so I've never really been interested in seeking like just a hit, or I ain't never really been seeking trying to make a club joint. But then also getting out of my transition into college and getting out of college, I started to recognize, like, okay, started studying this thing, like, what is a good song? How long should it be? What is a hook? And, just going through that whole process of making a full song and having it to be good from start to finish. And really spent 10,000 hours at this thing called music, at this thing called rap, at this thing called art. And, I've gotten to the place to where, have I been validated in a sense from that my music does resonate with people? Yeah. Have I been given somewhat of an opportunity because of my music? I can say, yeah. Has it been to my liking? No, but it's neither here nor there. I've made an impact at the end of the day. And for the last 2 years, I've been working on this project, and it's probably been one of the most challenging projects of my entire life, to where I've had to build something from literally nothing. Me and my boy Mitch of Scream Team Productions. And so getting to a place to finally be finished, to finally be comfortable with people judging and perceiving something that you spent time, money, and effort into, is a lot. So wherever you may be at on your own journey as an artist, as a creative, as a musician, don't quit. Don't give up. Don't give in. I know the title of the video is, I'm quitting music, but Dr. Dre talks about, even if he was a plumber, he would never quit. He would never stop making music. And I feel him on that. Have responsibilities in life probably gotten to the way in some type of form or fashion, maybe. But that's never going to stop me from bleeding my heart. That's never going to stop me from being honest and open and just real, because now the music went from a thing of like, oh, hey, let me let me just be the illest nigga rapping. Then now I transition to like, hey, I want to say something of impact that's going to empower, that's going to help, that's going to uplift, that's going to give people some type of like encouragement to keep going in their day-to-day lives. It's human music, you know what I mean? Just life music is what I call it. And so with this next project, you know, if you whoever sees this, whoever takes this in, man, I would love an opportunity to just have your ears for a little bit under 30 minutes. I would love an opportunity to just have you to just put down all the distractions and really tap in. And again, this is not about me, but you know, you too also have something to share with the world. You too also have something to give of value. And you know, people gonna tell you that you need to be this thing, or you need to make music this way, or it needs to be this thing, or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the goal is always to just be yourself. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned in all this, is that no one can be you. The only person that we can ever be and choose to be and or should want to be is ourselves, because that's the differentiator. That's the differentiator in all of this, is that Kendrick is Kendrick, that Drake is Drake. And no matter how divisive we want to be in terms of who we like more than the other, is that they are completely two separate people. And Tyler is who he is, and Earl is who he is, and you know, Larry June is who he is, and 2 Chainz is who he is. And you know, the great thing about being an artist is being yourself. And so I had made an agreement with a friend of mine in college that once I turned 30 that I would stop making music. And I don't blame her at all. I'm not mad at her, but because I agreed. And looking back in retrospect, you know, I shouldn't have said yeah to that at all. And so, you know, I forgive myself for even making a statement like that and or agreeing to something like that, because when something lives in you, it should die with you. You know what I mean? And so if you really love this thing called life and music, and you really want to put it out, you really want to inspire, you really want to uplift, you really want to help, you really want to give some type of, you want to give yourself to the world, no one can ever dictate how you should do that. No one can ever dictate what you should do or how you should do or who you should be or whatever the case may be. It's like God has made you who you are, period. God has made you one of one, down to the hairs on your head. And so with that being said, man, never stop, never quit, never give up, and never give in. Continue to keep trusting yourself. Continue to keep knowing that if it's in you and if it's of you, and you doing what's on your heart, that's all that matters at the end of the day. Continue to keep trusting your heart, because it's on your heart for a reason. But don't sit on it for too long, because God does have an expiration date on aspirations. God does have, not on aspirations, but on ideas. So even with me sitting with this idea for as long as I have been sitting with it, you know, I'm finally ready to give it to the world and give it to you. And as I give you my heart, I just ask that, you know, do with it as you will, because I'm okay with it at the end of the day. And I'm happy with what I'm doing, what I'm putting out, even if everybody may not understand, even if somebody may feel like, oh, ageism is a real thing as it pertains to hip hop. I don't think so, because look at the Griseldas of the world, look at the Bodie James of the world, look at the Freddie Gibbs, the Ye's, the you know, still showing up in 40s, 50s, the Jay-Z's, you know what I mean? Still showing up, man. So never let anything deter you from expressing yourself. Never let anything deter you from being open and being honest and being vulnerable on record. Never let anything stop you from being yourself at the end of the day. Never quit, never give up, never give in. Again, my name is Smart Clark. Yeah, to God be the glory. For sure.